Today we're looking at the Sony 90mm f2.8 macro lens. We're going to break this thing down and see what all the hype's about and find out if it's any good for you. Here we go! So the infamous Sony 90mm macro. There's a lot of good stuff floating around about this lens, and here's some specs on it just to get you started in understanding just the basics of it before we jump into build quality. Now, like most of Sony's products, the build quality of this lens is substantial, and being only 5¼ inches long and 3 1/8 inch wide, this lens is very versatile and can come with you most places. Weighing about 1.5 pounds, it's got a little bit of weight to it, and it does feel good in the hand with its all metal construction. It does have a completely customizable focus hold button, as well as a steady shot on and off switch, and a focus range selector. It has a large, grippy focus ring, which all you need to do is pull down to engage the manual focus. I love this option rather than having to go into camera to do this. The focus ring turns precisely and smoothly, and Sony's conveniently marked the magnification ratios right on the lens. Now for me, one area that Sony has missed the mark yet again is their lack of proper weather sealing. It has a nice metal mount, but no rubber gasket, making this just dust and water resistant. Where build quality is concerned, I give it 4.5 stars. Next, let's look at the value of the lens. And value comes through in a few different areas here. At around 1,000 American dollars, it's by no means a cheap lens. And it has a few competitors like the 70mm f2.8 Sigma art lens. And this lens doesn't compare in price or performance in this case. With a lack of IS, some interesting design features, and a questionable autofocus system, you get what you pay for. So as far as value goes, you're getting a ton of features with a very capable macro lens that also just happens to be one of the best portrait lenses out there. Comparing in many aspects to Sony's G Master glass, I give this lens 4.5 stars for value. Now let's dive into performance here. This is my personal lens and probably one of my favorite lenses. Its autofocus is incredibly fast whether you're shooting pictures or videos, and it's basically silent. It's also insanely sharp. So sharp in fact that I've heard people switching to different lenses because it's too sharp. Personally, I love sharpness, and it's my go-to portrait lens. But my favorite thing about this lens is its versatility. I love it because I can be creative with it. I use it for B-roll, I use it for portraits, I use it for client work, to get into places and see things that you can't normally see with a lens. And that's why there's always going to be a macro lens in my bag. This lens has worked flawlessly with my A7 III, utilizing every new bit of technology Sony has to offer, including the eye autofocus, which can easily replace the focus hold button as a function. The image stabilization in this lens really complements the IBIS systems in the newer Sony bodies, just adding to the stability of both stills and video. Here's an example of the image stabilization at work with my reluctant dog off and then on. But when you're using macro, this is where IS is going to make the biggest difference. And here's a perfect example. And this is going to allow you to get the pictures that you want without having to take a tripod everywhere. Now, as usual, I'm not going to go into great technical specific detail regarding the clarity or the sharpness or the distortion of this lens because it's just not a big deal to me. As far as performance goes, this lens is amazing, and there's not much that I could really pick out that I don't like about it. If you are interested in those things, there are a lot of reviews out there with people doing the technical specifics a lot better than I can do. But I'm about bringing real-world reviews and just sharing my experience. I give this lens 5 stars for performance. So wrapping up, this is a very versatile lens that meets a lot of the criteria that I look for. There's a lot of things that I like about it, and just a few that I don't. It's hard to find fault in this one, and because of that, I'm giving it 4.5 solid stars. I also rate things on a scale from definite buy to consider to never think about again. And if you're a Sony shooter looking for a macro lens or a portrait lens or both, then this is a definite buy. And that's it guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it, and if you did, hit that like and subscribe button and drop your questions and comments down below. If you think you might want to pick this lens up, there are links in the description as well that'll take you to where you need to go. And like always, make mistakes, be yourself, and get out there and take some more pictures. See you next time.